Hello, my name is Andrew, and this is the best way to heat up raw meat without cooking it. So I've been on a raw meat diet for almost a year and a half now, and in addition to never getting sick, it's definitely the most nutritious, satisfying diet I've ever been on. However, the one problem I ran into almost immediately is like, wait, if I can't cook the meat, how do I heat it up? So the first couple weeks, I was just trying to eat my meat cold, which was obviously unappetizing because no one wants to eat cold food unless it's the middle of the summer or something. So the next thing I tried was just heating it up on the stove on low, which kind of worked, but there were a couple of problems. Firstly, if I left it on the stove too long, it would actually brown the underside of the meat. And it was crazy, like even that small amount of cooking would give me acid reflux and make it a lot harder to digest the meat. But then also a lot of stoves are now being switched over to induction now, which instead of electric, which kind of like slowly heats up the coil, induction does this like spiking thing where it goes like zzz, zzz. So I realized that what was happening is that even if it wasn't staying on the stove for long enough to start browning it, those spikes were still raising the temperature enough to kill the probiotics and destroy the enzymes. So the solution I came up with was to get one of these Vivo Sun seed mats. It's essentially 3 inches by 20 inches. So you can use it to wrap around a canning jar or a Pyrex. I find the canning jar works the best because you can wrap it around multiple times and it creates a little bit more insulation to warm the jar up faster. It generally takes about half an hour, I would say, at 96 degrees, which is body temperature. They even give you a couple rubber bands like this, which helps create a tight fit so it warms up even faster. And it's nice because it comes with a little temperature probe. So what I do is just put this in between the glass and the rubber like that, just jam it down in there. And then it'll keep the glass heating to 96 degrees so it doesn't overheat. And then one other trick that helps is putting it inside a small ice chest and then zipping it up, which kind of like preserves the heat. Because if you don't do that and it's winter inside the house, it can take a lot longer for the canning jar to heat up. But yeah, it also comes with a thermometer. It's really easy to use, just has a setting button here. You just hold this for 3 seconds and then this will start flashing. And you can change the default temperature to 96 degrees or body temperature. If you want it to heat up even faster, you can take anything that you're gonna use from the freezer, cut that up the night before, and then put it in the jar with the rest of your raw meat, then store it in the fridge or in a cooler around 50 to 60 degrees so that when you go to heat it up in the canning jar, it doesn't have that far to go. In terms of knowing when it's done, the trick is usually to look at the fat. Like I've got some suet in here. You can see that it's kind of flaky. You can even hear it, but when it warms up to body temperature for a half an hour or even an hour if you want to let it go longer, it kind of becomes oily. You know, it starts to turn into like a melted butter consistency. And at that point, it becomes really delicious. So yeah, that's my favorite way of heating raw meat without cooking it. But if you'd like to support the channel, you can shop the referral links down below or check out my raw primal video to see what I eat in a day. Finally, if you have a question about raw meat or about natural health in general, let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching. Catch you next time. Peace.